The penny in your pocket might look ordinary. You might spend it without a second thought. But what if one simple Lincoln cent from 1997 could be worth far more than its face value? What if a tiny detail, almost invisible to the naked eye, could turn a common 1-cent coin into something collectors eagerly search for? Today, we're taking a close look at the 1997 D Lincoln penny, a coin that millions of Americans have handled, yet few have truly examined. The 1997 D Lincoln penny was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the most important coin-producing facilities in the United States. The small letter D beneath the date tells us exactly where it was made. At first glance, it seems like just another modern penny. It carries the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back, a design Americans recognized for decades. But every coin has a story, and the 1997 D penny is no exception. To understand this coin, we need to travel back to the late 1990s. America was experiencing economic growth. The internet was beginning to enter homes across the country. Mobile phones were becoming more common. Yet while technology was rapidly changing, the Lincoln cent remained a familiar part of everyday life. The Lincoln penny itself has a long history. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it became the first regular United States coin to feature a real historical figure. By 1997, Lincoln had already appeared on the cent for nearly 90 years. The Denver Mint produced billions of pennies during that era. In fact, more than 4 billion 1997 D Lincoln cents were struck. That number alone might make you think this coin could never be valuable. After all, how can something be rare if billions exist? The answer lies in condition, errors, and collector demand. Let's begin with the coin's design. On the front, known as the obverse, you'll find Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above his head appears the word Liberty. The date 1997 sits to the right. Beneath the date is the small D mint mark identifying Denver as the place of production. The portrait itself is based on the work of sculptor Victor David Brenner, whose initials can be found on the coin. His design has become one of the most recognizable images in American coinage history. Flip the coin over and you'll see the Lincoln Memorial. This reverse design was introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. If you look closely, Lincoln's statue can actually be seen inside the memorial, making this one of the few coins in the world that features the same person on both sides. The coin is made primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating. By 1997, pennies were no longer composed mostly of copper. Rising metal costs had forced the United States Mint to change the composition years earlier. As a result, the 1997 D cent weighs approximately 2.5 grams and contains a zinc core covered with copper plating. For everyday spending, these details may seem unimportant, but collectors pay close attention to every aspect of a coin's production. One of the biggest reasons the 1997 D penny attracts attention is the possibility of mint errors. Mint errors occur when something unusual happens during production. These mistakes are accidental, and because they are unintended, collectors often find them fascinating. Among the most sought-after errors are doubled dies. This happens when design elements appear doubled due to a mistake during the die-making process. On some coins, letters or numbers may seem to have extra outlines. Another valuable category includes off-center strikes. These occur when the coin blank is not properly aligned during striking. Part of the design may be missing, creating a dramatic appearance. There are also die cracks, die chips, and other unusual production flaws that can make a specific 1997 D penny stand out from billions of others. While most 1997 D pennies are worth only a cent in circulation, error examples can command significantly higher prices depending on the severity and visibility of the mistake. Condition is another major factor. Coin collectors use grading systems to evaluate preservation. A penny that spent years bouncing around in pockets and cash registers will naturally show wear. Scratches, discoloration, and flattened details reduce collector value. However, a 1997 D penny preserved in pristine condition is a different story. Coins graded mint state by professional grading companies often attract strong interest. These are coins that show little or no evidence of circulation. Their original shine remains intact, and their details appear sharp and well-defined. The highest-grade examples can be surprisingly valuable despite the enormous mintage. Consider this for a moment. Billions of coins were struck, but very few survive in truly exceptional condition. Most entered circulation immediately and accumulated wear over time. Finding one that looks almost exactly as it did when it left the mint is much harder than many people realize. That scarcity of top-quality examples creates demand among collectors building registry sets and competitive collections. Over the years, several high-grade 1997 Lincolncents have sold for impressive amounts. Ordinary circulated pieces typically remain worth face value. Uncirculated examples may bring a modest premium. But coins certified in exceptionally high mint state grades have sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. In some cases, premium examples graded among the finest known have reached values that surprise people who never imagined a modern penny could be worth that much. The lesson is simple. A coin's age alone does not determine value. Condition can be just as important, and sometimes even more important. So how can you tell if your 1997 D penny might be special? Start by examining the date and mint mark. Make sure the coin clearly displays the year 1997 and the small d beneath the date. Next, inspect the surfaces carefully under good lighting. Look for unusual doubling, striking errors, or other odd features. A magnifying glass can help reveal details that are difficult to see with the naked eye. Pay attention to the coin's color and luster. Uncirculated coins often display bright original surfaces. If the penny appears exceptionally clean and sharp, it may deserve closer examination. Weight can also be useful. Since the standard 1997 D cent weighs about 2.5 grams, any significant difference might indicate damage, alteration, or an unusual minting issue. Collectors should also be cautious about counterfeits and altered coins. Although the 1997 D penny is not among the most heavily counterfeited coins in America, alterations do exist. Some individuals attempt to modify coins to imitate rare varieties or create fake errors. One warning sign is evidence of tampering around the mint mark or date. Scratches, tool marks, or unnatural surfaces can indicate that someone altered the coin after it left the mint. Professional grading services can help authenticate valuable pieces. These organizations examine coins for authenticity and assign official grades, giving collectors greater confidence when buying or selling. Now let's talk about some fascinating facts surrounding the Lincolncent series. The Lincoln penny has survived numerous changes throughout American history. It has witnessed world wars, economic booms, recessions, technological revolutions, and cultural shifts. Through it all, Lincoln's portrait remained a constant presence in American commerce. The 1997 D penny belongs to the final years of the Lincoln Memorial reverse design. Just over a decade later, the reverse would change as part of the Lincoln Bicentennial Program and eventually transition to the Union Shield design used today. That places the 1997 D cent in an interesting historical position. It represents the closing chapter of a design that had served Americans for nearly half a century. Another interesting detail involves coin collecting itself. Many people began their collecting journey with Lincolncents. Because pennies are inexpensive and easy to find, they often serve as a gateway into the hobby. A child searching through pocket change can discover dates, mint marks, and varieties. That sense of treasure hunting keeps collectors engaged year after year. The 1997 D penny fits perfectly into that tradition. Most examples are common, but the possibility of finding a high-grade specimen or unusual error adds excitement to every search. Collectors also appreciate the challenge of completing Lincolncent albums. Every date and mint mark has its place. Even common issues become important when building a complete set. For registry set competitors, the pursuit becomes even more intense. They seek the finest known examples available, often paying substantial premiums for coins with exceptional grades. That demand helps explain why certain 1997 D pennies can achieve remarkable auction results despite their modern age. Ultimately, the story of this coin is not just about money. It is about observation. It is about discovering hidden details in everyday objects. It is about realizing that history sometimes sits unnoticed in a jar of loose change. The next time you receive a penny in change, take a moment before tossing it aside. Look closely at the date. Check the mint mark. Examine the condition. You never know what you might find. Among billions of ordinary coins, there are always a few that stand apart. A sharp strike, an unusual error, a pristine survivor untouched by circulation. These are the coins that capture the imagination of collectors. The 1997 VDB Lincoln Penny may seem humble, but its story reminds us that rarity is not always obvious. Sometimes value hides in the smallest details. Sometimes the most overlooked coin becomes the most interesting one in the collection. And somewhere right now, sitting in a forgotten drawer, an old coin jar, or the bottom of a pocket, there may be a 1997 VDB penny waiting to be discovered. The question is simple. If you found one today, would you know what to look for? Have you ever picked up a penny without giving it a second thought? What if that tiny 1-cent coin sitting in a jar, hidden in a drawer, or forgotten in a pocket could actually be worth far more than its face value? Millions of Americans have handled the 2001 VDB Lincoln Penny, but very few know that certain examples have become highly desirable among collectors. Some rare pieces have sold for surprising amounts, turning an ordinary penny into a fascinating treasure hunt. The 2001 VDB Lincoln Penny is one of the most common coins produced in the United States, yet it continues to attract attention from collectors across the country. While most examples are worth only a cent, a select few stand out because of their condition, unique characteristics, or unusual minting errors. Today, we're taking a closer look at the story behind the 2001 VDB Lincoln Penny, why collectors search for it, and what makes certain examples much more valuable than others. To understand this coin, we need to go back to the year 2001. The United States was entering a new century. Technology was rapidly changing everyday life, and millions of Americans were using the internet more than ever before. During that year, the United States Mint continued producing the familiar Lincoln cent, a coin that had already been part of American history for more than 90 years. The Lincoln cent first appeared in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first regular circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical person. Before Lincoln appeared on a coin, most American coins displayed symbolic images rather than actual individuals. The decision marked a major change in U.S. coinage. By 2001, the Lincoln cent still featured the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front. This design had become one of the most recognizable images in American coin history. On the reverse side was the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The D mint mark on the 2001 VDB penny indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint in Colorado. The Denver facility has played an important role in American coin production for more than a century. In 2001, the Denver Mint struck billions of pennies for circulation. Because so many were produced, most examples remain common today. At first glance, the 2001 VDB penny may seem ordinary. The front displays Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above him appears the word Liberty. The date 2001 sits to the right, while the motto "In God We Trust" arches across the top. Just below the date is the small D mint mark. The reverse features the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This design is famous for one remarkable detail. If you look carefully under magnification, you can actually see a tiny image of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial. That means Lincoln appears on both sides of the coin, a detail many people never notice. The coin's composition is another interesting feature. Earlier Lincoln cents were made primarily of copper. However, rising metal prices eventually made pure copper cents too expensive to produce. By 2001, pennies were made of a zinc core covered with a thin layer of copper. This gave them the familiar appearance of older cents while reducing production costs. The diameter of the coin remained about 3/4 of an inch, and its weight was approximately 2.5 grams. Although these specifications seem small, collectors often pay close attention to them because unusual variations can indicate minting mistakes. Speaking of mistakes, Mint errors are one of the biggest reasons collectors search through rolls of 2001 D pennies. Most coins leave the mint exactly as intended, but occasionally something goes wrong during production. When that happens, collectors take notice. One type of error involves off-center strikes. This occurs when a blank coin is not properly positioned before being struck by the dies. The result is a coin with part of the design missing and an unusual appearance. Depending on how dramatic the error is, such pieces can attract strong collector interest. Another sought-after error is a broad strike. This happens when the coin is struck outside the retaining collar that normally shapes its edge. Without the collar, the coin spreads outward, creating an unusual shape and appearance. Collectors also watch for die cracks. Over time, the metal dies used to strike coins can develop cracks. These cracks may appear as raised lines on the finished coin. While minor examples are common, larger and more dramatic die cracks often receive significant attention. Some collectors search for double die varieties. A double die occurs when elements of the design appear doubled because of issues during die creation. Letters, numbers, or parts of the design may show visible duplication. Genuine double dies are highly collectible because they originate from the die itself rather than damage that occurs after the coin enters circulation. There are also coins with die chips, cuds, and other unusual features that can make them stand out. While not every error is valuable, unusual examples often attract buyers looking for something different. But here's the question many people ask. If billions of 2001 D pennies were made, how can any of them be valuable? The answer lies in condition. Most 2001 D pennies spent years changing hands in stores, vending machines, banks, and cash registers. As a result, they accumulated scratches, discoloration, and wear. Finding a truly pristine example becomes much more difficult than finding an ordinary circulated coin. Collectors use grading systems to evaluate condition. Coins with little or no wear receive higher grades and often command much higher prices. The difference between an average penny and an exceptional one can be dramatic. A typical circulated 2001 D penny is generally worth face value. You could spend it without a second thought. However, coins preserved in brilliant uncirculated condition can be worth more to collectors. Examples displaying strong luster, sharp details, and minimal marks are especially desirable. At the highest grading levels, prices can rise significantly. Professional grading services have certified some 2001 D pennies in exceptional condition, and these top-grade examples have sold for amounts that surprise many people. While most will never be worth a fortune, the finest known examples can bring dozens or even hundreds of dollars depending on market demand and certification. Error coins can be worth even more. Certain dramatic mint mistakes have sold for substantial premiums because they are far scarcer than normal examples. The more unusual and well-preserved the error, the greater the potential value. Collectors often share stories of finding valuable coins in unexpected places. Some discover them in bank rolls. Others find them in inherited collections. A few lucky individuals have even spotted interesting varieties in everyday pocket change. These stories keep the excitement alive and encourage collectors to keep searching. If you're interested in examining a 2001 D penny, there are several things to look for. First, check the mint mark. The small letter D should appear beneath the date. This confirms the coin was produced in Denver. Next, inspect the overall condition. Look for original luster, sharp details, and minimal wear. Coins that appear bright and fresh often attract more attention than heavily circulated examples. A magnifying glass can help reveal important details. Search for unusual doubling, die cracks, off-center strikes, or other abnormalities. Compare suspicious features with verified examples whenever possible. Weight can also be useful. A digital scale may help identify unusual pieces, especially if a coin appears different from normal examples. However, always remember that damage, corrosion, or environmental effects can alter a coin's appearance and sometimes create misleading characteristics. Counterfeiting is generally less common for ordinary modern pennies than for rare classic coins, but collectors should still exercise caution when purchasing expensive examples. Buying certified coins from reputable dealers can provide additional confidence. Professional grading services authenticate and evaluate coins, helping collectors avoid costly mistakes. One surprising fact about the 2001 D penny is how many people overlook it entirely. Because it seems so ordinary, countless examples pass through hands every day without attracting attention. Yet collectors understand that even common coins can become fascinating when examined closely. Another interesting detail is that the Lincoln Memorial reverse design used on the 2001 D penny would eventually come to an end. In 2009, special reverse designs were introduced to commemorate Lincoln's bicentennial. Shortly afterward, a completely new reverse design featuring the Union Shield replaced the Lincoln Memorial. As a result, the 2001 D penny belongs to a design series that has now become part of history. Many collectors enjoy assembling complete sets of Lincoln cents by date and mint mark. The 2001 D penny may not be the rarest coin in the series, but it remains an essential piece of those collections. Every coin tells part of the larger story of American coinage, and this penny represents the beginning of the 21st century. For younger collectors, the coin serves as an accessible entry point into the hobby. It is inexpensive, easy to find, and connected to one of America's most famous presidents. For advanced collectors, the challenge lies in locating the finest possible examples or discovering unusual errors. Perhaps the greatest appeal of the 2001 D Lincoln penny is the sense of possibility it creates. Every coin collector knows that extraordinary finds can sometimes emerge from ordinary places. A penny that most people ignore could turn out to be an exceptional specimen with a story worth telling. The next time you receive change, take a closer look before dropping those coins into a jar. Examine the dates, the mint marks, and the condition. You never know what might be hiding in plain sight. The 2001 D Lincoln penny may seem like just another 1-cent coin, but for collectors, it represents history, craftsmanship, and the thrill of discovery. And that raises one final question. Right now, somewhere in America, could a rare high-grade 2001 D penny or an unusual mint error still be sitting unnoticed in circulation, waiting for someone to recognize its true value? The answer may be closer than you think, perhaps even in your own pocket. Have you ever picked up a penny without thinking twice about it, only to wonder later if it might be worth far more than 1 cent? What if a simple Lincoln penny from 2015, the kind millions of Americans have handled, could hold secrets that collectors spend years searching for? Today, we're taking a closer look at the 2015 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that seems ordinary at first glance but has sparked curiosity among collectors across the country. The 2015 Lincoln penny is part of one of America's longest-running coin series. The Lincoln cent first appeared in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. More than a century later, Lincoln still appears on the front of the penny, making it one of the most recognizable coins in the United States. When people hear the phrase "no mint mark," many immediately think they have found something rare. That's because certain coins without mint marks have become legendary among collectors. However, the story behind the 2015 no mint mark Lincoln penny is a little different, and understanding why makes this coin even more interesting. The year 2015 was a normal production year for the United States Mint. The American economy was stable, and billions of pennies were needed for circulation. To meet that demand, the U.S. Mint produced pennies at multiple facilities. Most Lincoln cents came from Philadelphia and Denver, while proof versions were produced in San Francisco. If you look closely at a 2015 Lincoln penny and do not see a mint mark under the date, that usually means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. For many years, Philadelphia pennies were produced without a mint mark. Because of this, finding a 2015 penny without a mint mark is completely normal. That may sound disappointing, but don't stop listening yet. While most 2015 no mint mark pennies are worth only face value, some examples have become highly collectible due to their condition, striking quality, and unusual mint errors. Let's start by examining the coin itself. On the front, also known as the obverse, you'll find the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln. This design was created by sculptor Victor David Brenner and has appeared on Lincoln cents for generations. Above Lincoln's head is the word Liberty. The year 2015 appears to the right. The phrase "In God We Trust" arches along the top edge. On the back of the coin, you'll see the Union Shield design. This design was introduced in 2010 and represents Lincoln's efforts to preserve the United States during one of the nation's most difficult periods. The shield contains 13 vertical stripes joined by a horizontal bar at the top, symbolizing strength through unity. The coin may look like solid copper, but it isn't. Modern Lincoln cents are primarily made of zinc with a thin copper coating. A typical 2015 penny weighs about 2.5 grams and measures roughly 19 millimeters across. This composition has been used since the early 1980s to reduce production costs. Because billions of these pennies were struck, most examples found in pocket change are common. Yet collectors know that sometimes extraordinary discoveries can hide among ordinary coins. One reason collectors pay attention to 2015 pennies is the possibility of mint errors. A mint error occurs when something unusual happens during production. These mistakes can create coins that differ from standard examples and may become valuable to collectors. One type of error is a double die effect. This happens when the design is impressed onto the die more than once in slightly different positions, creating a doubled appearance on parts of the coin. Although dramatic double dies are rare, collectors constantly search through rolls of pennies hoping to find one. Another error involves off-center strikes. During production, if the blank coin is not properly aligned when struck, part of the design may be missing. Depending on how dramatic the error is, such coins can attract significant collector interest. There are also die cracks, die chips, and other production anomalies that can make a particular coin unique. Some collectors enjoy these errors because each one tells a story about what happened inside the minting process. Condition is another major factor affecting value. Imagine two identical 2015 no-mint mark pennies. One has spent years in circulation, accumulating scratches, wear, and discoloration. The other was preserved from the day it left the mint and still shines with its original luster. To collectors, these are very different coins. Professional grading services evaluate coins based on their condition. The highest grades are reserved for coins with virtually no wear and exceptional eye appeal. Even common coins can become surprisingly valuable when preserved in top condition. This is where the story becomes interesting. While ordinary circulated 2015 no-mint mark pennies are generally worth only 1 cent, high-grade examples have sold for significantly more. Coins receiving premium grades from professional grading companies can attract collector demand because very few survive in perfect condition. For example, uncirculated examples may sell for a few dollars, while coins achieving elite grades can bring much higher prices. In some cases, top population coins, meaning coins among the finest known, have sold for dozens or even hundreds of dollars depending on market demand and certification status. The biggest premiums usually go to coins that combine outstanding condition with an unusual error. When those two factors come together, collectors often become willing to pay substantial amounts. This creates an exciting possibility for anyone searching through change. The coin itself may not be rare, but finding an exceptional example certainly can be. So how can you tell whether your 2015 no-mint mark penny deserves a closer look? Start by examining the date and the area where a mint mark would normally appear. On a Philadelphia issue, there should be no mint mark. If someone claims a missing mint mark is automatically valuable, be cautious. For this particular year, no mint mark is standard for Philadelphia circulation strikes. Next, inspect the coin under good lighting. Look for sharp details in Lincoln's hair, clear lettering, and strong lines in the shield on the reverse. Coins with minimal wear are generally more desirable. You should also search for unusual characteristics. Check for doubling in the letters or numbers. Look for off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, or other unusual features. Magnification can help reveal details that are difficult to see with the naked eye. Weight can also provide clues. A digital scale capable of measuring grams may help identify unusual planchet errors. Most normal examples should weigh close to 2.5 grams. Counterfeits of ordinary 2015 pennies are uncommon because the coin itself is not particularly rare. However, altered coins do exist. Some people modify coins to imitate valuable varieties or errors. That's why experienced collectors recommend comparing suspicious pieces with known genuine examples. If you believe you have discovered an unusual specimen, professional authentication may be worthwhile. One fascinating aspect of coin collecting is that rarity doesn't always come from age. Many people assume only coins from the 1800s can be valuable. In reality, modern coins sometimes become collectible because of errors, low survival rates in top condition, or unusual production circumstances. The 2015 no-mint mark Lincoln Penny is a perfect example of this idea. It reminds collectors that value often depends on details most people overlook. Another surprising fact is how many pennies are still hiding in everyday places. Collectors routinely search bank rolls, coin jars, cash register trays, and inherited collections. Every year, valuable coins are discovered in places where nobody expected them to be. Stories like these keep the hobby alive. Imagine opening an old jar of spare change and finding a coin that had gone unnoticed for years. The possibility may be small, but it happens often enough to inspire people to keep looking. The Lincoln Cents series is especially popular because it combines history, affordability, and the thrill of discovery. Beginners can start with pocket change, while advanced collectors can pursue rare varieties worth thousands of dollars. The 2015 no-mint mark penny occupies an interesting place within that tradition. It isn't famous because of extreme rarity. Instead, it teaches collectors to pay attention to condition, minting quality, and small details. For many enthusiasts, that's what makes coin collecting so rewarding. Every coin has a story. Some tell stories about American history. Others reveal how coins are manufactured. Some showcase unexpected mistakes made during production. Even a common penny can become a window into a much larger world. Today, millions of 2015 no-mint mark pennies continue to circulate across the United States. Most pass from hand to hand unnoticed. Yet among them may be exceptional examples waiting to be discovered by someone curious enough to take a closer look. And that's perhaps the greatest lesson this coin can teach us. Not every treasure announces itself. Sometimes it looks like an ordinary penny resting in the bottom of a pocket, hiding among loose change, waiting for someone to notice what everyone else missed. So the next time you receive a handful of coins, don't rush to spend them. Take a moment to examine each one carefully. That seemingly ordinary 2015 Lincoln Penny without a mint mark might not be worth a fortune, but it could be the coin that sparks a lifelong fascination with collecting. And who knows? The next incredible discovery could already be sitting in your change jar right now, quietly waiting to reveal its story. I've got a question for you. What if I told you that a penny you might have received in change, dropped into a jar, or ignored in your pocket could be worth far more than 1 cent? Most people walk past modern pennies without giving them a second thought. But among millions of ordinary coins, a few 2017 Lincoln pennies have caught the attention of collectors, sparked treasure hunting excitement, and created a surprising buzz in the coin world. So what makes this little copper-colored coin special? And could one be hiding in plain sight? The 2017 Lincoln Penny is a 1-cent coin struck at the Denver Mint in Colorado. At first glance, it looks almost identical to countless other Lincoln cents produced in recent years. It carries the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Union Shield design on the back. To most people, it is simply pocket change. But as coin collectors know, sometimes the smallest details can make all the difference. To understand this coin, we have to go back to the long history of the Lincoln cent itself. The Lincoln Penny was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It became the first regular United States coin to feature a real person. Before that, American coins typically displayed symbolic figures rather than historical individuals. Over the decades, the Lincoln cent has gone through several design changes. The famous wheat ears appeared on the reverse from 1909 until 1958. They were replaced by the Lincoln Memorial in 1959. Then, in 2010, the United States Mint introduced the Union Shield design that remains in use today. By 2017, the Lincoln cent had already become one of the most recognized coins in American history. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of pennies in 2017. Each coin carried the small D mint mark beneath the date on the front of the coin. Because so many were made, most examples remain worth only face value. However, collectors know that large mintages do not always mean every coin is ordinary. Rare varieties, minting mistakes, and exceptional condition can transform a common coin into a valuable collectible. The obverse, or front side, of the 2017 D penny features Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above his portrait appears the word Liberty. The year 2017 sits to the right of Lincoln, while the motto "In God We Trust" arches across the top. Just below the date is the small but important D mint mark identifying Denver as the place of manufacture. The reverse displays the Union Shield. This design symbolizes Lincoln's commitment to preserving the United States as a single nation during the Civil War. Across the top is the inscription E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. The denomination 1 cent appears prominently across the center, while United States of America is displayed below. Although the coin appears copper, it is actually made primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating. Since 1982, most Lincoln cents have been produced using this composition. The coin weighs approximately 2.5 grams and measures about 19 millimeters in diameter. Now comes the question many viewers are waiting for. If millions were made, why are collectors paying attention to the 2017 D Lincoln penny? The answer lies in condition and mint errors. Most 2017 D pennies are extremely common. But when a coin leaves the mint with a mistake, collectors often become interested. Mint errors are accidental flaws created during production. These errors can range from minor imperfections to dramatic mistakes that make a coin unique. One of the most sought-after possibilities is a double die variety. This occurs when the design elements appear doubled due to an error during die creation. Collectors carefully inspect dates, lettering, and other details under magnification looking for signs of doubling. Another type of error involves off-center strikes. This happens when the coin blank is not properly aligned during striking. The result is a coin with part of the design missing and a blank area visible on one side. Some collectors have also discovered die cracks, die chips, and other unusual mint-made imperfections on 2017 D pennies. While many of these are minor, certain examples can command premiums depending on their appearance and rarity. Then there are coins struck on the wrong planchet. This is one of the most dramatic mint errors possible. Imagine a penny design accidentally struck onto a blank intended for another denomination. Such mistakes are rare and can become highly valuable because they combine rarity with a fascinating story. Condition is another major factor. Coin collectors use grading systems to evaluate how well a coin has been preserved. A penny that spent years circulating in pockets and cash registers may show scratches, wear, and discoloration. However, a coin that remained untouched from the day it left the mint can receive a much higher grade. The highest quality examples are often described as mint state coins. These coins retain their original surfaces and sharp details. In modern coin collecting, even a tiny difference in quality can create a huge difference in value. For example, a typical circulated 2017 D penny may be worth only 1 cent. An uncirculated example might sell for a small premium. But a coin certified at an exceptionally high grade by a professional grading service can attract serious collector attention. Some top-grade examples have sold for significantly more than face value. While they are not worth thousands like some legendary rare pennies, the best-preserved examples can still bring impressive prices compared to their original 1-cent denomination. Collectors are often willing to pay for perfection, especially when only a limited number of coins achieve the highest grades. The fascination grows even stronger when a high-grade coin also features a recognized mint error. Combining rarity and condition creates a formula that many collectors find irresistible. So how can you identify a potentially valuable 2017 D Lincoln penny? The first step is locating the mint mark. Look beneath the date on the front of the coin. A small D indicates it was struck in Denver. Next, inspect the coin carefully under good lighting. A magnifying glass can help reveal details that are difficult to see with the naked eye. Check the lettering, date, and design elements for signs of doubling. Look for unusual raised lines, cracks, or missing details that could indicate a mint error. Pay attention to the coin's overall condition. Sharp details, bright surfaces, and minimal wear generally increase collector interest. If a coin appears unusually pristine, it may be worth further evaluation. Weight can also provide clues. Because modern pennies have standard specifications, a coin that weighs significantly more or less than expected could indicate an unusual minting error. Collectors often use precise digital scales when examining potential discoveries. Professional grading services play an important role in authentication. If you believe you have found a valuable example, experts can evaluate the coin, assign a grade, and verify whether any errors are genuine. This process helps protect buyers and sellers by providing an independent assessment. Unfortunately, the coin market also attracts misunderstandings and exaggerated claims. Some online listings advertise ordinary 2017 D pennies for huge amounts of money. Just because someone lists a coin for hundreds or thousands of dollars does not mean it actually sells for that price. Real value comes from verified sales, collector demand, rarity, and condition. This is why education is so important. Successful collectors focus on facts rather than hype. They study minting processes, learn how grading works, and understand what truly makes a coin desirable. One interesting fact about the 2017 Lincoln Cents series involves a special event at the Philadelphia Mint. For the first time in modern history, Philadelphia-issued pennies carried a mint mark during part of 2017. Although this applied to Philadelphia coins rather than Denver coins, it generated enormous excitement among collectors and brought additional attention to Lincoln Cents produced that year. As a result, many people began examining their change more carefully. Suddenly, ordinary-looking pennies became objects of curiosity. Coin roll hunters searched through bank rolls. Collectors checked jars filled with spare change. The possibility of discovering something unusual transformed a simple penny into a miniature treasure hunt. Another fascinating aspect of the 2017 D penny is how it demonstrates the unpredictable nature of coin collecting. Not every valuable coin is ancient. Not every collectible comes from a distant century. Sometimes a coin only a few years old can capture attention because of a rare error, exceptional preservation, or unique circumstance. This idea appeals to collectors of all ages. You do not need to spend thousands of dollars to participate in the hobby. A single penny found in circulation can spark a lifelong interest in history, design, and American minting. Collectors also appreciate the connection between Lincoln Cents and American history. Abraham Lincoln remains one of the most respected presidents in United States history. Every Lincoln penny serves as a small reminder of his legacy. Holding a coin that bears his image creates a direct connection to more than a century of American numismatic tradition. Today, the 2017 D Lincoln penny continues to circulate widely. Most examples remain common, but that has not stopped collectors from searching. The excitement comes from the possibility that one coin might be different from the rest. Maybe it has an overlooked error. Maybe it survived in perfect condition. Maybe it represents a future collectible waiting to be discovered. That possibility is what keeps coin collecting alive. It is not always about finding a $1 million rarity. Sometimes it is about the thrill of looking closer, learning something new, and uncovering hidden stories in everyday objects. So the next time you receive a penny in change, don't dismiss it too quickly. Take a closer look at the date. Check for the tiny D mint mark. Examine the details carefully. What appears to be an ordinary coin could have an extraordinary story behind it. And who knows? Somewhere in a pocket, cash register, coin jar, or forgotten drawer, a remarkable 2017 D Lincoln penny may still be waiting for someone curious enough to notice it. The next great coin discovery might not come from a museum or an auction house. What if I told you that a penny you might be sitting quietly in everyday change, worth far more than hiding in plain sight? Most people spend 1 cent away from every day without a second thought. But among the billions of coins circulating across America, certain pennies have captured the attention of collectors and treasure hunters alike. One coin that often creates excitement is the 2016 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. At first glance, it looks completely ordinary. Yet many people wonder whether this modern penny could secretly be worth a small fortune. The story begins in 2016, a year when billions of Lincoln cents were produced for everyday use throughout the United States. The Lincoln cent has been part of American life since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in the nation's history. By 2016, the coin had already been around for more than a century, surviving world wars, economic crises, and countless changes in American society. The 2016 Lincoln penny continued a tradition that millions of Americans know well. On the front of the coin appears the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln. His image has appeared on the cent since 1909, making him the first real historical figure ever featured on a regularly circulating American coin. Before Lincoln, most American coins displayed symbolic images rather than actual people. The year 2016 was not a special anniversary year for the Lincoln cent, but it was another important chapter in the coin's long history. The United States Mint produced huge quantities of pennies because Americans still needed them for daily transactions. Even in a world increasingly dominated by credit cards and digital payments, the penny remained an essential part of commerce. Now here is where many people become confused. When they look at a 2016 Lincoln penny and notice there is no mint mark beneath the date, they assume they have discovered a rare error coin. The truth is actually much more interesting. A missing mint mark on a 2016 Lincoln penny is usually not an error at all. In fact, pennies made at the Philadelphia Mint traditionally do not carry a mint mark. For decades, Philadelphia produced coins without adding a letter to indicate where they were made. So when collectors see a 2016 penny with no mint mark, it generally means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. That may sound disappointing at first, but understanding this detail is important because many people mistakenly believe every no mint mark penny is rare. Knowing the difference between a normal coin and a valuable error can save collectors from costly mistakes. To better understand the coin, let's look at its design. The front features Abraham Lincoln facing right. Around him are the words "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 2016. The design is simple, clean, and recognizable to nearly every American. The reverse side displays the Union Shield design. This design was introduced in 2010 and symbolizes Lincoln's preservation of the United States during the Civil War. The shield represents strength and unity, while the horizontal bar at the top symbolizes the federal government holding the states together as one nation. The coin itself is not made primarily of copper, even though many people still refer to pennies as copper coins. Since the early 1980s, Lincoln cents have been produced mostly from zinc with a thin copper coating. The 2016 penny follows this composition. It contains a zinc core covered by a layer of copper, giving it the familiar reddish appearance that Americans associate with pennies. The coin weighs approximately 2.5 grams and measures about 19 millimeters in diameter. These specifications help collectors verify authenticity when examining a potentially valuable piece. So if a regular 2016 no mint mark penny is common, why do collectors still talk about it? The answer lies in errors and exceptional condition. Although millions upon millions of 2016 Philadelphia pennies were produced, a tiny number left the mint with unusual mistakes. These error coins can be worth significantly more than face value because collectors enjoy owning something unique. One example is a double die error. This occurs when parts of the design appear doubled due to issues during the die-making process. Letters, numbers, or other design elements may appear slightly duplicated. Depending on the strength of the doubling and the condition of the coin, values can range from modest amounts to hundreds of dollars. Another possibility is an off-center strike. During production, a coin blank may fail to align correctly with the dies. The result is a coin whose design is shifted away from the center. Dramatic examples are especially popular among collectors. Some 2016 pennies have also been discovered with die cracks, die chips, or other striking abnormalities. While not every error commands a large premium, unusual examples often attract strong collector interest. Condition is another major factor. A typical circulated 2016 no mint mark penny is generally worth only 1 cent. However, coins preserved in nearly perfect condition can sell for much more. Professional grading services evaluate coins according to strict standards, and high-grade examples often command premiums because finding flawless modern coins is surprisingly difficult. Think about what happens to most pennies. They pass through cash registers, pockets, purses, vending machines, and coin jars. Every scratch, nick, and mark reduces their condition. A coin that somehow avoids these hazards and remains nearly perfect becomes increasingly desirable. Over the years, collectors have paid impressive prices for top-grade modern pennies. Certain certified examples of 2016 Philadelphia cents in exceptional condition have sold for dozens or even hundreds of dollars, despite being common coins originally worth just 1 cent. The value comes not from rarity alone but from the challenge of finding a perfect specimen. Stories like these fuel the excitement surrounding coin collecting. Someone might search through rolls of pennies from the bank and discover a coin that appears ordinary but possesses remarkable quality. That possibility keeps collectors looking. When discussing value, it is important to separate realistic expectations from internet myths. You may encounter online videos or social media posts claiming that every 2016 no-mint mark penny is worth thousands of dollars. In most cases, those claims are exaggerated. The vast majority of these coins are common and worth face value. Only examples with significant errors or outstanding grades have the potential to command substantial premiums. Understanding this distinction helps collectors make informed decisions. If you think you have a valuable 2016 penny, there are several things you should examine carefully. First, inspect the date and lettering using magnification. Look for signs of doubling, unusual shapes, or striking abnormalities. Second, check the overall condition. Does the coin retain its original luster? Are there scratches, stains, or signs of wear? High-quality surfaces can make a significant difference in value. Third, weigh the coin if possible. Authentic 2016 cents should match standard mint specifications. A substantial difference in weight could indicate damage, alteration, or a manufacturing anomaly worthy of further investigation. Fourth, compare your coin to verified examples from reputable coin references. This step helps prevent confusion caused by ordinary variations that are often mistaken for rare errors. Counterfeit pennies are less common than counterfeit gold or silver coins, but altered coins do exist. Some individuals modify dates, remove mint marks from other coins, or attempt to create fake errors. Careful examination is always essential. One useful strategy is consulting a professional coin dealer or submitting the coin to a respected grading service. Experts can determine whether an unusual feature is a genuine mint error or simply damage that occurred after the coin entered circulation. There are also some fascinating facts about the 2016 Lincoln penny that many people do not know. For example, billions of Lincoln cents are produced annually, making them among the most widely distributed coins in American history. Yet, despite their abundance, many people actively collect them by date and mint. Another interesting fact is that the Lincoln cent remains one of the most debated coins in America. Some economists have argued for eliminating the penny because its production cost can exceed its face value. Others believe the coin should remain because of tradition and its role in everyday transactions. The penny has survived numerous discussions about retirement, allowing each new year of production to become part of a continuously evolving historical record. The 2016 penny also represents a snapshot of America during that year. Coins often serve as miniature time capsules. Long after newspapers are forgotten and websites disappear, coins remain. Future generations may study them to better understand the era in which they were made. Collectors love the 2016 no-mint mark penny for several reasons. It is affordable, accessible, and easy to find. Beginners can search pocket change, bank rolls, or coin jars without spending large amounts of money. At the same time, experienced collectors appreciate the challenge of locating pristine examples and identifying legitimate errors. This combination makes the coin appealing to a wide range of hobbyists. There is also something exciting about searching through everyday change. Unlike rare gold coins locked away in vaults, Lincoln cents are still circulating. Anyone can participate in the hunt. Every handful of coins presents a new opportunity to discover something unusual. Perhaps that is the true appeal of the 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. It reminds us that hidden treasures do not always look extraordinary. Sometimes they appear ordinary, blending into daily life until someone takes a closer look. The next time you receive change from a store, take a moment to examine those pennies. Most will be worth exactly 1 cent, but one might display an interesting error, exceptional condition, or a feature that sparks further investigation. That possibility continues to inspire collectors across the country. A simple penny becomes more than money. It becomes a piece of history, a puzzle waiting to be solved, and a reminder that valuable discoveries can appear where we least expect them. So before you toss your next handful of pennies into a jar, look carefully at the dates and details. Among those ordinary coins could be a fascinating piece of numismatic history. And while a 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is usually just a regular Philadelphia issue, the search for that special example is what keeps collectors coming back, 1 penny at a time.